Good day, everyone. Welcome to tele-turuan. This is the first episode in English 10 for the second grading period. I am Sir Mark Lester A. Rufino from Honorato C. Perez Senior Memorial Science High School, and I will be your teacher presenter for this session. Towards the end of our discussion, you are expected to observe the language of research, campaign, and advocacy. But since campaign and advocacy root from researching, thorough researching I mean, then our lesson for today will focus on research, the general concepts about it, and the steps in conducting it. So, what are we waiting for? Let's start the ball rolling. Whenever we talk of research, we mean different things. As a starter, let us play the 4 picks 1 word game. I will be showing you different sets of pictures and then tell me what do the images connote or suggest. Let's have the sets of pictures. First set. What do the pictures suggest? Very good. It is innovation. What about this set of pictures? Great. It is development. The third set. Who can guess the magic word for this set of pictures? Nice try. It is discovery. And for the last set, will you try to unveil the mystery term in here? Okay, yes, it is experiment. Good job, guys. You were able to get all 4 words correctly. True enough, before we initiate a campaign or promote a certain advocacy, we carefully research, for we try to innovate, we try to develop, we try to discover, and we try to experiment. Research is made up of 2 words, re, which means again, and search, which means to find. So, in other words, research is a repeated process of finding the truth and of validating the existing truth. Another definition is that research is a systematic, methodical, and ethical procedure. Actually, research is an organized inquiry carried out to provide information for solving problems. It involves different processes and methods which lead to the discovery of something. The following are the 4 products of research. The first one is innovation. Number 2, new procedure. 3, policies. And lastly, explanation of a phenomenon. As to the categories of research, there are actually 3. The first is quantitative research. It is numerical, non-descriptive, it applies statistics or mathematics, and it uses numbers. It is an iterative process whereby evidence is evaluated. The results are often presented in tables and graphs. It is also conclusive. It investigates the what, the where, and the when of decision making. The second category is qualitative research. It is non-numerical, it is descriptive, it applies reasoning, and it uses words. Its aim is to get the meaning, the feeling, and it describes the situation. Qualitative data cannot be graphed. Take note of that. It is exploratory and it investigates the why and the how of decision making. The last category is the mixed research. It involves the mixing of quantitative and qualitative methods or paradigm characteristics. The nature of data is mixture of variables, words, and images. There are also other types of research, like 1. Descriptive research, which is very common. This type makes careful descriptions of the current situation or status of a variable of interest. And the next is experimental research, which we always do in science. This features the investigation of causal effects through direct manipulation of an independent variable and control of extraneous variables. After knowing the general nature of research, our next task is to discover the processes or the considerations on how to make a research paper or a research report. All those will be discussed after some few reminders from our sponsors. And we are back here in tele-turuan episode 1 in English 10 for the second grading period. We shall now talk about the processes involved in conducting a research. Basically, a research paper may be divided into 3 segments: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Let's talk about them one by one. But before that, let's first delve into the pre-writing stage, and that is to select and limit a research topic. Here are the tips, my dear students. Number 1 is you have to brainstorm for ideas. What would you like to research about? Why does it interest you that you would like to know more about it? Do you have an opinion about it? Tip number 2, identify the sources of general background information. What sources of information can you see to gather information? Who can you ask to help you in providing information about the topic? Can you use the library, magazines, journals, periodicals, or the internet to collect information? Do you know any organization that can help you in the gathering of information? Well, number 3, focus on your topic. What specific area or factor would you focus your research on? Why did you decide to focus on that specific area or aspect? Who is affected by the topic? The 4th tip is make a list of useful keywords. What are the keywords that you can use to best describe your topic? Enumerate them. 5th is you have to be flexible. What are the considerations or adjustments that you would do if ever there is a need to modify your research topic? Then, you have to define your topic as a focused research question. What is the primary question that your research topic wants to answer? And then, lastly, formulate a thesis statement. What is the thesis statement of the study that you would like to conduct? Now that you have selected and limited your topic, it is time to write your introduction. This is actually the first segment, okay? The first segment or the first part. And this portion includes 4 subparts. The first one is your brief background. In here, you are to provide an overview of the scope of the research. Number 2, the objectives of the study or the statement of the problem. This part articulates what you intend to find out or what you intend to achieve in the study. Some researchers use research questions that they intend to address in the report. Others articulate the objectives of the study. Either way, be it research questions or research objectives, these are tools to guide readers in knowing the direction of the research. Third part is the significance of the study. This portion elaborates the relevance of the study to your intended audience. Cite the specific benefits that they can get from the findings of the research. And the last segment is the literature review, or review of related literature, or the RRL. This segment of research discusses published information in a particular subject area. Some might think that it is simply a summary of sources, but it is actually more than that. It provides the recap and the reorganization of information, or it might also trace the intellectual progress on the subject at hand. Furthermore, the literature review evaluates the sources and advises the reader on the most pertinent or relevant information. So after writing your introduction, so you're done with the first segment, you now have to write the body. The body of the research reports contains the substantial amount of information that needs to be clearly and accurately presented and analyzed. The data that will be presented in this section are meant to address the research questions or objectives. In presenting the gathered information, you can make use of charts. Number 2, graphs. And number 3, tables. Note that you must introduce each illustration appropriately, and it must be followed by an adequate discussion of the data presented. Moreover, you need to use related studies to support or refute the findings. This is very much important. You can do this by incorporating the notes that you have gathered in the pre-writing phase. Remember to always cite your sources. And then lastly, we're down to the last part, which is the conclusion. The conclusion is important in bringing home the highlights of the research paper. A well-written conclusion allows readers to take on a new perspective about the thesis. Moreover, it also provides readers with recommendations that can be explored concerning the topic. When you research, you conduct a survey, right? It is one of the many ways on how data can be gathered. And what do you use when you gather information? Very good! You use a questionnaire as your tool. But do you know how to craft one? If you do not know, here are the tips. Number 1, figure out what information you are trying to gather for this survey. What is your main objective in doing the questionnaire? What information do you need from the respondents in order to meet your objectives? Think of questions that will address your objectives. 2, write an introduction for your questionnaire. This part should explain a little about your questionnaire. Why are you doing it and what is your goal? Use closed questions for questionnaires. A closed question is one that can be answered with a word or a phrase. This makes it easy for the respondents to give their answer without having to think of an articulate way to word it. Closed questions also make clarifications of responses easier. Next is order your questions in a way that is meaningful and easy to follow. Start with questions that are easy to understand and easy to answer. Opening with harder questions is discouraging and may scare your respondents before they complete your entire survey. Easy questions help encourage your participants to finish answering. Next, put the more important questions at the beginning of your questionnaire. Often, participants can lose interest on the latter part of the questionnaire, especially if the survey is rather lengthy. Place more important questions in the first part of the questionnaire. Remember that. Add a little variety to your questions. While closed questions are best for ease of answering and analyzing purposes, adding in a couple of open-ended questions helps keep respondents from becoming bored. Open-ended questions require respondents to write out their answers and to include some details. Oops! One more important thing that you must not forget when writing a research paper is your reference list. This is actually the last part. This is the last portion of your research paper. It is actually an essential portion of your research document. The reference list should appear at the end of your paper. It provides the information necessary for a reader to locate and retrieve any source you cite in the body of the paper. Each source you cite in the paper must appear in your reference list. Likewise, each entry in the reference list must be cited in your text. According to Dr. Albert Szent-Györgyi, a Nobel Prize winner, research is to see what everybody else has seen and think what nobody has thought. And that concludes our tele-turuan session for this day. I hope you have learned something new from our discussion. This is Sir Mark Lester A. Rufino from Honorato C. Perez Sr. Memorial Science High School. Thank you so much. Bye!